got no. everybody knows you had a good chance, but didn't say much. Left it too late now to apologize. Oh, time has gone too with memories to burn down and empty sympathy. Your followers know it now. Your followers know it now. Your followers know it now. Your followers know it now.
Enter into a new dimension of creation. The power to design, animate, and edit. Cool and quiet as you create, with breathtaking graphics performance. The way you create will never be the same.
Hello and welcome everyone to the penultimate week of the regular season for the XP Esports Women's League. I'm Blue Panda. Joining me on the mic tonight is Cthulhu and Cthulhu. This is the week of all weeks in the regular season. The top two teams going head to head in our first matchup of the night.
100% yes. Tonight is planning to be an absolute banger of matchups coming right our way. We have some of the matchups that will be also deciding the top four positions as well. So honestly, I couldn't ask for any better matchups for tonight, honestly. But before we get into all the nitty-gritty, into all of the juicy stuff, we do need to go over a few formalities really quickly. That is the league teams and the format. We've already on the sixth week so far, and we had all our wonderful 8 teams come out and play some and jam some absolutely amazing Rainbow Six Siege. That is Ren's, Nocturnal, Grumpy Graves, Beanix, Calypso, Nutty Gaming, Elevate, and 71st Recon that came on board for Season 4. And honestly, all of those teams over the period of time that was between the Season 3 and now Season 4 have managed to improve quite substantially And as well as that, we do have our wonderful league format where we do see the group stage already almost done.
Yeah, I mean, it's a simple case of 8 teams enter, 4 teams leave. We've played 6. Well, we're going into week 6 of this 7-week group stage. From there, the top 4 will move into the playoff stage. We will get to figure out who is moving through into that grand final. So 4 then becomes 2 to see who takes away the big prize. We'll also have third and fourth to figure out who closes things out with that bronze medal. But that's the end of the result. We've still got the rest of this to go through. But they're playing for a pretty substantial cash prize. That is, they've been fronted up that. So number 1 team will get the biggest chunk of the $3,000 dues available. The champions walking away with half, $1,500. Runners up get $1,000, and then that third, fourth place match gets to decide who walks away with $500 and who walks away with absolutely nothing. So there is a lot on the line for these girls here coming into the later stages of this tournament. And this is where things start to get a little bit tighter. You have to be that much better on the day. And with some of the matchups that we've got coming in this week and next week, the stakes could not be any higher.
Exactly, but it's not all yet as well. We do have the wonderful ZQ Racing MVP prize coming right up as well. The wonderful people at ZQ Racing have came on board as well for Season 4 to join us for the celebration at the end of the season and see who will be able to get themselves a MVP prize and who will be the new big player for the season. But without further ado, Panda, let's have a look firstly at the Week 3 standings, because honestly, that was some quality matches that we've seen and some very interesting shifts as well in the standings.
Yeah, well, looking at what we've got on the screen, you can see Elevate Nocturnal. They are sitting at the very tippy top of the table. They are the teams that are going to be going head-to-head in our first matchup of the night. It will decide who takes first seed going into the final week of play. That could obviously still change. There could be an upset coming later. But down lower, 3-4, there's some changes that could be made there. We see Calypso being, there's 2 weeks left to play, which is 2 matches, which, I mean, if Calypso and Renz both lose their matchups, there is a chance that they get knocked down into the lower 4 and don't progress into playoffs. So there is a lot on the line. These next couple of weeks are going to be absolutely huge for shaping the way the playoffs starts to come through. Seeding then comes in, who gets the easier matchup going into the grand finals. So there is a lot at stake here. I mean, look, we've seen some phenomenal matches so far. We're going to see a couple more in the final 2 play weeks. But Kasulu, why don't we just jump into it? We'll have a look at our schedule here for tonight. We'll figure out what's going to be happening. Like I've said, Elevate versus Nocturnal to kick things off. Elevate versus former Elevate. This is, the grudge match of all grudge matches as well. Elevate have consistently been a strong team throughout the play of group stage so far. Nocturnal, they've proved themselves incredibly capable as well, but they've just constantly been in the shadow of their former organization. They are looking to break out, be the stars of the show here, and a win here tonight could do that.
Yeah, 100% for Nocturnal. This is yet another chance to really bring in the upset. Last time they've attempted to do so, unfortunately, things didn't really work out for them. Elevate, they are on the winning streak, and it is their game to lose here. And if that happens, quite a huge achievement will be made finally. For once, Elevate will be dethroned off their win streak that has been already going over a multitude of seasons as well. And as well as that, for Nocturnal, this is finally their rise to the greatness and potentially pushing themselves up on that first position to secure the higher seed going for in the future group side. Yeah, I don't know what happened with my brain there, but memes aside and brain aside, Calypso, Benix, and 71st Recon versus Nutty could also bring in a few very interesting scorelines, given the fact that there could be quite a switch in the bottom standings. As well as that, Grumpy Grapes versus Renz will be deciding whether Renz will be able to stay, I believe, in the top 4, or rather, how are they going to be finishing up this week?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So if Calypso and Renz can pick up wins here tonight, they guarantee themselves a spot in top 4. There is no way that, unfortunately, they can be knocked out if they do win tonight. So next week could be a matter of where the teams are seated in the top 4 more than anything. But there is still room for an upset. If we see Calypso and Renz lose out tonight, that provides a possibility. I think at this stage it is actually no, yeah. Phoenix or Grumpy Grapes could find themselves in a position. In fact, the winner of 71st Recon and Nutty Gaming as well find themselves in a position if Calypso and Renz both lose, that someone could steal away third or fourth position. So there is a lot riding on these matches. There is a lot of hope coming into that as well. So it's going to be interesting just to see how those matches playing out. But I mean, we've talked about what's coming up. Why don't we take a deep dive into our first matchup of the night? It is going to be Elevate versus Nocturnal. Elevate, who's their main roster are playing at the same time. So this is going to be absolutely huge for them. Prime time Elevate roster. And look, at the moment, there's only one Elevate roster that is undefeated, and it is the one you currently see on your screen. There we go. Cortari, Bot, Chloe, Crips T, and Soy, all incredibly capable players, all very, very talented players. And I mean, we saw that last week, just absolute domination from start to finish.
Absolutely, yeah. 7-0 scoreline for them, which was pretty much a very good taster, I suppose, for what might be coming in tonight. As well as that, the map that we'll be seeing, that I will mention later on, is definitely one of the very, very familiar one for both of them. Of the teams as well. So look, honestly, yeah, I'm very much excited. Like you said, the double Elevate content today is definitely great as well. But let's have a look at the challenges as well, because Nocturnal, like you mentioned before, Elevate players from season 1 and 2, also bringing in absolute bangers. Aussie, Sav, AJ, Crescent, Mons with Pi as their sub. Honestly, a very scary squad if you allow them to gain even a small chunk of momentum.
Yeah, we've seen them play. We've seen them. You and I ourselves have played against these girls and got our, we got handed quite solidly a big L. So I'm very interested to see what strategies are coming into this, how they're going to try and. These girls know each other as well. That's the big thing. The women's league environment, it's actually so close that these girls all play with each other. They all know each other. So they all have an understanding of how their counterparts will be playing. So especially given that the map we're going to, there is a lot of potential for counter-stratting, counter-reading plays, and we could see the upset come not in preparation for your own strategies, but in preparation for your opponent's strategies. Just being able to be one step ahead of the curve, being able to understand what your opponents are trying to bring. That could be the defining factor in how these rounds play out. But otherwise, I mean, you look at the stats. The kills are there. Sav, in particular, has been a phenomenal fragger for the lineup. So definitely interested to see. And as for the maps, we are going to be hitting Clubhouse. The map that both these teams started the season on, it makes sense that we're going to be hitting there again. It is a map that has been almost done to death. So it is going to be less of a case of, just how deep the strat book is. It's going to be a case of how deep the counter strat book is and how good the fragging is on the day.
100%, yes. This is going to be, I feel, played out in a similar kind of fashion how maybe Coastline is usually played out. At this point, all the strats are there. It's just all down to aim and how well can you time your pushes. So without further ado, let's have a quick peek at the map as well. And look, good luck, have fun. Both teams are ready and good to go. They're all eager. And, well, let's get the party started because honestly, Clubhouse should be a banger here.
Yeah, it's exactly it. The good luck said there's only so much luck that is going to come into this. It is going to be 100% skill. It's going to come down to the ban phase, obviously, which operators are going to be taken off the board. Are we going to see some priority around the Thatcher Maverick? It's really just anyone's game at the moment. No surprises. We are going to see Thatcher himself taken off the board early by Elevate. I didn't think of a situation that would have been let through. But obviously some other couple of things to note going into this. So at the moment, Aruni and Tachanka are still in quarantine. They haven't been let back into the competitive pool just yet because we were partway through the season when it happened. The Gon 6 is allowed, which is a secondary that I'm super excited to be seeing coming into play. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how these teams utilize it. Maverick taken out by Nocturnal. And obviously, Theme Park has been allowed to stay in the pool. We're not going to be adding Chalet just yet. We'll probably worry about that next season. But at the moment, we're in... Wow. All right. The banter is happening. Crips, if you remember last week, that massive ace was a huge power player for the Elevate roster. Cade taken off as well. Look, this is going to be an absolute heater, and I'm super excited for it.
Oh yeah, this is 100% guaranteed to be a heater. Honestly, with Malusi now banned out as well, this well, they've got all the bases covered pretty much. And for the attack of Nocturnal, this is going to be potentially a bit of a rough run, but honestly, this is still looking like it's going to be an absolute blast to really watch. Church and Arsenal
Already,
will be
we see
choice.
something let through Cthulhu. It's something that we have not seen let through for a good portion of the season. We could see a mirror pick come out.
Possible, yeah. Mirror being let through is actually a very good point. Yeah, that I don't think actually a whole lot of teams been even emphasizing on for quite a while. And an Iana introduction, I'm curious if that is also the decision to bring in the Gonsex is going to be the choice here, seeing as Iana now actually after all the balances is actually one of the last few operators that got to keep her very own grenades, as well as seeing the introduction of Gon 6.
Yeah, look, I made jokes about that earlier on the timeline and people were not impressed with me. So we won't touch on that just now. But speaking of getting ready, it is going to be Elevate kicking things off here on the defense. Cortari picking up the Mozzie, which in her debut performance of the season was an absolute powerhouse. Did some real damage to their opponents of Calypso in that opening matchup. So excited to see what is going to be brought to the table here. Doubling down with that mute, they're going to try and deny as much information as possible. And then obviously you've also got the Maestro for information gathering, denial, and the Smoke Jäger. Just standards when it comes to a defensive basement. This is intriguing. There is a lot of setup that could come the way of having Iana on the board now that she is a little bit more relevant with the Gon 6, has that utility denial. I'm interested to see how Nocturnal prioritize this.
And already we do see a few setups here up on top of the clubhouse around the gym and the main staircase. Crips T playing with the mute as well as Aquatari with the Mozzie. This is definitely a solid decision, seeing as two operators will be able to quite flexibly deny the information gathering. But overall, so far, it's just the drain of all the drones. Sav is the one who actually already made the entrance into the building, but no direct engagements just yet, and Elevate seeming to be playing a relatively passive game, or rather just waiting for the attackers to step into their trap.
100%. I reckon this is some big bod work being done already. They know that this priority roam is a thing for Elevate. Cortari, though, able to escape just, but AJ going to be hot on the heels. Finds KT anyway. Cortari will get Sav, so the trade is there. Health-wise, it's still favoring Nocturnal, but again, this is definitely a case of Nocturnal doing their homework, watching the VODs, understanding how much priority Elevate put into their roam game, and looking to counteract it early.
And exactly that has happened. Being able to force Cortari out of that roam, being able to get rid of Crips T early on is a huge thing to really accomplish here now. Already though, half a round has been already used up and wasted, so now the attack needs to be very clinical about their push. Already one of the Selma charges has detonated, which should be decreasing the amount of the charges that need to be used to destroy the hatch, and well, rightfully so. Unfortunately for bot, the impact trick will not be working, and that is an open hatch. So yet another sideline opened up already, as well as that the dirt tunnel has been popped open. So this is looking pretty healthy, but right now with Soy going on a flank, she could throw in a spanner in the works very easily.
Yeah, I mean, the minor changes that were made in the most recent patch, doubling down on one of those armor boxes in the basement, means that the kitchen hatch isn't quite as deadly as it once was. Aussie going to be tagged up, trying to find the angle, trying to find the opening. AJ now in motor with Mons in support and 90 Corridor. They could start to push on. Crescent as well, a multi-pronged, multifaceted assault, but Soy on the back side of it could be a defining factor in how it plays out. Mons going to find bot, dealing with the Maestro. Aussie on the plant for the moment. Soy above could really upset this process. In from behind, finds AJ. Diffuser will go down and it will be spotted. Looking for more. Soy's going to do some big damage, but Aussie's there on the return. Double kill, and it's Cortari with literally a sliver of health facing into two very capable gunners here for the Nocturnal roster. This is the first time this season that Elevate have found themselves at a round deficit.
Yeah, that is a very good point and a very scary initial prospect, albeit that this is only a single round. This is a solid start from Nocturnal, honestly. Being able to force out the play from the top floor force it back into the site, and then bit by bit take over all of those flanks is just absolutely amazing. A little bit of a hiccup allowing Soy to go past all of those reinforcements, but apart from that, it has been absolutely clinical.
Yeah, well, look, I think that was just that Nocturnal did their homework. They knew that there was going to be a deep ups presence from 2 players minimum, because that is how Elevate Women's like to run their roam. It's going to be Kortari plus 1 other, depending on how they look to use it. I mean, we saw early, Sav got inside. It was AJ looking to push into Jim. They doubled up. Crescent was there as well in support, and they just played it to a T. They absolutely read that entire setup, and they were able to shut it down. Now the change-up has come. Elevate, they're going to be pushing themselves to CCTV, try something a little bit different to undercut some of that momentum that Nocturnal will have found off that round. And the question now is just how deep did they go in prepping to verse Elevate? Because if they understand the overall setup, the overall strategies that Elevate are bringing, this could be a pretty one-sided, pretty brutal setup.
Already we are seeing a few very odd misses on the reinforcements. No reinforcement on the con wall, which is a very easy, quick entry for Nocturnal possibly. But quite a heavy presence and utility over at the garage. We do see a Maestro camera as well as that plentiful amount of the mute jammers as well as the Womai magnets, and overall this is looking quite solid. Still no reinforcement, so if the attack reads into this, this could be a huge play, but fortunately I am not yet seeing any drones discover that.
It's almost like a horizontal bunker setup. They want to keep control of rafters, keep control of garage for as long as they possibly can, and then lock them out from cash rather than extending into con, because it is a tenuous position. You can lose control of Logi, you lose control of Suicide out in those windows between CCTV and con, and it becomes that much harder. At the moment, they are going to find one. It's Soy early as well, the 416 to go down that early. Bot trades out through the floor with the older 556, so they lose one after finding that initial pick, and it has to be one that favors Elevate at the end. You're losing a Zofia for a Jaeger who has already done their job. You take that if you're Elevate.
100%. Yeah, this is probably one of the more impactful frags that Elevate could have scored early on into the run, and right now this is looking really promising still. Minute 30 remaining yet again. Nocturnal are still pretty solid on the clock. The Ash charges are there as well. Managed to get rid of the mute jammers, I believe. Yes, they did. And so that means a very easy, very quick entry for Aussie Princess, as well as that yet another angle for Kortari now to hold and to bother about, and that is going to be an issue further down the line, I feel.
Yeah, this position can be incredibly strong, but it also requires you to not lose control of that CCTV wall early into the round. If you can hold on to it for as long as possible, it just gets stronger and stronger throughout the round, especially given they've gone for the setup that denies that push straight in through the garage doors. They've got to funnel in through the single door on the opposite side by kennels. It just makes it so much harder for attacking teams, and will make it that much harder for that to execute. If they can't deal with Kortari in that position, they will struggle. And there we go. Crescent gets found through that angle, the CCTV wall. And all of a sudden, things are looking a little bit more bleak for this Nocturnal roster. They need to get themselves in the building. They need to get Kortari out of this position. And just so close. They can't do it, which means they now have to force through the breach or through con. And neither are great positions to be in with this much time left. Just under 20 seconds. AJ swings, comes in through the CCTV window, doesn't care at all. Older 556 will chime in, drops AJ. Crips with a double nitro, picking up one and the down player as well. Mons has to sprint in, but with 5 seconds left, it's not looking great. Will swing, can't find the frag, bot to do it, and we will equalize.
That was just an absolute mean grinder at the end of that round, with Elevate just absolutely demolishing their opposition. Katie with the C4 from below, absolutely fantastic timing, and a bit of a misplay from Nocturnal, gotta say, not having any drones to watch out for the flank below. Definitely did seem to be put that just enough strain to essentially make them fall apart.
Yeah, look, they may have needed a little bit of duct tape to hold things together there, but they hold it together. They did. They were heading back down to the basement, going for the reattempt there. Cortari, this is an interesting strategy. So a sixth pick off a Jaeger onto a oh no, sorry, this sixth pick off the Mozzie onto the Jaeger. It makes a lot of sense. It's going to be telegraphed because you don't want to be running a strategy in basement without a Jaeger. So that's hopefully something that Nocturnal can read into. But the question now becomes, do we see Elevate running that same roam upstairs again? Because without the Mozzie, without the mute as well, there's no way to deny that information. So this indicates to me that we could see a very, very hard bunker setup coming here.
Yeah, the bunker setup could definitely work out here. It doesn't look like Elevate are planning to make any kind of cheeky changes here. No SSG-esque setups. So it's definitely pointing in that very direction. No changes, oddly enough, in the lineup either, minus the fact that we are just seeing just the same operators but on different players, and the decision to take out the mute and the Mozzie for this very hold. So seeing the hold from the CCTV, but now on the church.
Well, you can see a lot of downstairs presence here at the moment. They're all going to be floating in and around the bomb site. In fact, the only player not currently down in the basement is going to be Soy, playing over towards top red around cash. Might be just looking to waste a bit of time if possible, then go for the retreat. And Nocturnal, they've read into what was run last time by Elevate, even though it is not the case. They're trying to catch out any deep roamers, even though there really isn't much of any. As you can see, Soy as well. Yeah, they're just all downstairs. They're all back on the bomb site. They have completely switched it up from their opening round.
And this one might actually throw Nocturnal off quite a fair bit, seeing as Nocturnal were probably expecting just about the same strat here and there for Elevate to keep on forcing it, similar to how they were theoretically doing it against some of the lower end teams on the leaderboard, just trying to do the same thing. And well, maybe it could throw things off, but right now the main point of interest here is Soy, because she is pretty much the furthest one from the site and could potentially be the one to actually find a frag, very surprising one. AJ has the opportunity to potentially hunt for such, but rather won't be doing that. Maybe again the peak is happening. Oh, Soy shot too early, and well, we'll have to forfeit her position.
I couldn't tell you whether it was a case of just bad timing or sheer luck. Either way, if Soy had taken the gunfight, there was no guarantee that she was going to win it, and if AJ had done the same, it really was just a case of probably better off to leave it for now. But Hatch is going to start to be over, and they're going to start to pressure in from above. AJ following the Gemini replicator, which was kept alive for far longer than it probably had any right to be. Chloe going to try and reposition around AKs, give herself a better angle to contest this dirt tunnel push. AJ is an absolute whip when it comes to the R4C. Head spotted, but neither player able to connect those shots. AJ still alive for the moment. 30 seconds left in the round. Something has got to give, and it's going to give any moment now. The positioning is great here for Nocturnal. They just need to pull that trigger, go for the execute, go for that hard push. For the first time in a while, we have a round where there's about 15 seconds left to play, and there's still 10 players in the lobby alive. Crick's going to find the opener, Sab to go down. Chloe finds AJ with the smoke canister as well. Evil Eye is going to spot out Aussie on the drop. Can they find the plant? Crescent to go down. SMG11 of Chloe there. Nitro Cell throw, and Aussie is going to go for the reattempt. Mons in the backside is going to provide some support, but unfortunately, Aussie is felled by the MP5 of Crips. Will be a time loss there. The clock just not working out in Nocturnal's favour.
Yeah, that was definitely a very unfortunate outcome here for Nocturnal, seeing as they were pretty much ran out of time and didn't really have much to do there, apart from the fact that just try to drop in and find some frags, and at that point things were certainly looking quite grim. So with that said, well, Elevate back into the point lead. Gym Bedroom is going to be the next side that they will have to defend now that both CCTV and Church has been won. And to be absolutely honest, this is looking like Elevate now finally recovered from that a little bit of a trip on a banana peel in round one, and well, back into their normal shape.
Well, Mira was let through, but not picked up here for the defense. They're going to double down on that Wemai Jaeger. go with the Mute and the Valkyrie and bring a Goyo this time around. Crips having a stunner of a matchup so far. Same with Cortari for the Elevate girls. They are really finding those pivotal frags, and Crips finding the majority of them. Interesting though, we are going to see 3 Nitro cells being brought, which would indicate somewhat of a horizontal and vertical spread, because obviously, you know, teams will lose Jim. The plant then goes and gets threatened. You run downstairs, try and contest with a Nitro cell. So I'm interested to see just how many bases Elevate are capable of covering and how well they're able to do it.
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
Definitely. Currently looking at their setups, quite a heavy expansion actually into the cache, and funnily enough, even the red stairs, which is somewhat unorthodox, but definitely does allow way more flexibility. This is meaning that there's going to be way more time put into trying to clear out the red stairs and the CCTV and cache without even getting remotely close to pushing the con and the master bedroom as well. Whereas on the other side, well, you do have Crescent, Sav, and Aussie Princess trying to breach through, but yet again, quite an issue.
Yeah, it's not quite the standard gym setup that we see. You're not running a castle with stacked with the Where My Jaeger combo, so some adaptations coming through. They will look to try and get it open, and there we go. Gem is dealt with. The Selma charges will be going off to open up those walls. In the bathroom at the moment with that 590. This could be a key angle to lock down. If Elevate can keep control of that hallway inside the bathroom, just outside the breach, they could stop any potential plants coming through, not to mention just the sheer global coverage that they currently have. And Bot was going for the peak from Dirt Tunnel too. Look at that.
Yeah, just returning back, she is looking at potentially maybe going for a C4 play from below, which will actually play right in hand for the Elevate roster, and right now not even drawn out, so right now this is a perfect opportunity. Seems that Nocturnal are completely clueless about any potential for a play from below, but Mons actually opens up onto Cortari, and that is the person holding the CCTV, but there's still Soy holding a very tight angle and waiting for just the jump in to happen. Krez also opens up onto Bot, so that's the Valkyrie out of the equation as well. All down to Chloe, Cripsty, and Soy.
Luckily, the positioning is going to be there for them. They're all in close proximity to the bomb site, but the smoke coverage is going to be there. Crips! Oh no! Does split out Crescent eventually, but unfortunately for her, it doesn't matter. Sap has the cross. It's all coming apart. I would imagine she thought it was a teammate walking into the bomb site, but was not the case, or even potentially the Gemini replicator. And now we see Soy stuck in con, having to play off audio cues to try and figure out where she is being hunted from. Mons gonna swing in, pushing into the master bedroom doorway. Plan is down, 20 seconds left. Soy heading into top 90, and the player on the stairs, AJ, does find it. Unfortunately, as it says on the screen, Soy didn't clutch.
Soy, in fact, did not clutch, and, well, that is yet again good news for Nocturnal. They are keeping the contestant very close to each one another, and look, with round 5, we still are yet to find out if Elevate will finish this half with a lead or not, because with the way how things been going right now, we just might be seeing Elevate being taken to full 12 rounds.
Yeah, this is the hardest they have had to work all season, and it makes perfect sense that it is Nocturnal to make them work that hard. Elevate versus X-Elevate. You couldn't have asked for a better matchup coming here into the penultimate week of group stage. Well, round number 4, we've seen CCTV once already. It was Elevate that took it out, but you've got to remember just how close it did come getting to that point. They almost lost out on the bomb site. Cortari was a linchpin in holding it. Bot as well found some big frags on the backside. So now becomes the big question. Do we see Nocturnal contest Rafters aggressively? Because that was the big linchpin into how things came apart last time around. Also, are we going to see Con locked down like you were talking about? It wasn't reinforced. They didn't try and deny it. With the drone positioning from AJ here, I am imagining that either we see some presence coming in from master bedroom side, or at least coming in through strip up from main stairs and that way. Because, I mean, Cortari is an incredibly capable fragger in her own right when she's positioned with utility denial plus that information gathering potential. I mean, you are going to be hard-pressed to get her out of that position.
Straight off the bat, Soy absolutely punished there with an attempt to try to rotate, and right as she was falling down there, well, gets taken out by a very nice shot from Sav. Quite an F there, but hey, KT is able to respawn back onto AJ Tiger, and look, overall this is already looking sharp in a matter of just about 30 seconds.
As the song says, let the bodies hit the floor, because we're not even a minute through the round and that's already happened.
Exactly. For Crescent and the rest of Nocturnal roster, though, they still have plenty of openings. Mons is actually making quite a solid work here, getting all the bits and pieces of the garage wall now opened up to make sure that Cortari is going to be staying on top of her tippy toes in case she gets pushed from down below as well. So for Aussie Princess, she's just waiting for the breach to happen, and rightfully so. Well, Crescent looking to assist Sav with that.
I mean, look, there's a lot that could go wrong here. They need to get in. They need to get rid of those mute jammers that are denying the push in. But oh, look at that drone. Will spot out the player down in the basement. So Crips is going to have to relocate. Gives them the opportunity, gives them that freedom to deal with the mute jammers. The question then becomes, do they hit it right? I think they did, so they can now start to open things up. And yeah, looks like it just managed to happen. So we see the breach happening. Bot was looking to maybe try and contest from above, but not enough time for it to work. Sav back outside again. A minute left to play. They've got the same opportunities they had last time, Cthulhu. It now comes down to just how well they translate them. Cortari again finds another big frag from Rafters.
Oh no, finds yet another long angle, but right now will decide to fall back as she's about to get pressured actually from the garage door, and even more damage being dealt. Crescent just cannot seem to find a dub there for herself, and it's instead Crips T that finds a double kill there onto Mons, all down to the Iana and the Zofia with Nocturnal, and right now this is looking very dire. Yet another angle, very dire push there by Sav, will not be finding any success. Triple kill for Crips T, and potentially we shall be seeing a very quick wipeout in a moment's notice. Cortari looking to contest that very angle, but instead might be seeing actually somebody like Chloe to try to yoink away that frag.
Yeah, well, the question then becomes, does Crips get the 4K, or is it going to be a 3-2 split? It's going to be a 3-2 split. Yeah. Cortari finds it, and we are going to continue that process of trading rounds back and forth. So 3-2 currently. We're looking at a potential for maybe that 4-2 split, but we have to go back down to basement, which Elevate, they won on time last time we were there. The first time we were there, it was Nocturnal flooding into the site, getting control, shutting it down. Question is, are we going to see Elevate play the initial opening round that we saw for basement, which was a heavy upstairs roam, or are we going to see them go back to what won them around, which was their last bunker setup?
It appears that maybe we shall be seeing a bit of a hybrid round here from Elevate. No, actually, scratch that. The very first iteration from round one, the introduction of the roaming duo of Mute and Mozzie, which is not a bad idea at all. It's overall a very solid decision, although last time Nocturnal tried to do a little bit of a roam clear, well, they were quite successful, and neither Crips T actually nor Cortari were able to find any kind of response back onto that onslaught, minus one frag. I believe that was on Sav. And yeah, look, there might be a chance here, and maybe if Elevate do end this very half on a 4-2 scoreline, this might be a very solid setup for them. But if Nocturnal find their dub here, now this is going to be a very interesting one, seeing as now both teams are going to be back at the draw.
Yeah, look, it could be that hybrid setup, as the old ad said. Okay, no los dos. Why not both? We can do both. The question becomes, how deep a roam does Elevate go for here? Are we going to see them heavy commit to the second floor? Because Nocturnal read into that so very well. And it looks like they're going for somewhat of a shallower roam. Cortari just trying to figure out where some of this entrant presence might be coming from. There is bots playing in Dirt Tunnel. They've gotten CCTV open as well. There is a lot up in the air right now. It does come down to where they are going to be landing. Drones in early, looking for that presence, which, I mean, surely by now they should have some inkling. They should have some indication but there are players upstairs on the second floor, and Sav is going to be on the hunt looking for it. AJ and Mons on the opposite side of the coin, looking to push in from Jacuzzi and Jim. And Cortari, here's the sounds, here's the indicators, and the mute jammer is going to be their undoing, unfortunately. Crip's going to rotate back downstairs. 8-0-2 on her currently. Cortari joining, so they have peeled off. They are going to be returning to somewhat more of a tenable position. And this is the perfect situation for Aroma. Look, there's 3 of them joined up around Secret Lounge and Bottom Red. They're just wasting time. This is exactly what Aroma should be doing.
Exactly, and they've done it absolutely perfectly. So much utility as well wasted. Mons, I believe, on her last set of 6 pellets, and only will be able to attempt once a hatch opening. So this is definitely looking a little bit sketchy here. Certainly certain things could have gone way better, but right now, Chloe toying around with the idea of shotgunning her opponents, but already gets drowned out very quickly. But yeah, overall this is looking like a solid defense from Elevate without even draining a whole lot of their own utility or HP, really.
Well, I mean, Nocturnal, they've made pretty decent time of it. They've still got a minute left to go for that execute should it come. Again, we are getting into the realms of possibility where we are going to have a full 10-man scuffle with less than 20 seconds on the round. Bot currently in dirt, looking for someone to push out. They know that the contest is there. Crips finds the opener. That's AJ to go down. SMG 11 going off here in hand. And that is going to be an absolutely devastating blow here to the Nocturnal roster. Can they get themselves into the basement with enough time to execute? That is now the question. Hatch is starting to be open. Mons on the job. Sav as well, trying to provide some cover fire. There's a player in blue, prone, I would imagine, with some bullet holes as well. This is where things start to get a bit risque. Aussie Princess jumps in from Moto, will open up that church wall. Could be the opening they need. Crips to go down the Mons. Soy is prone, looking for an angle. Evil Eye is there. Chloe could find herself in trouble, but no, it's Aussie Princess at the end of the barrel. Chloe finds 2. Crescent will get the return. Diffuser has been picked up. Plant now has to be secured, and Sav with the cover. Can she find a kill? Provide the cover she needs? No. Bot does get the kill onto Sav. They know where the planter is. Crez going to find 1. Can she find 2? No. It's Soy to swing in, get the kill, and secure the defuse. Cthulhu, it will be that 4-2 split here. Elevate, they are not ready to give up their first place position.
100%, yeah, they're looking quite keen and ready. I'm loving the fact that they are consistently changing things around. They keeping Nocturnal, they're forcing Nocturnal to play Elevate's game, really, here. And for Nocturnal, this is not looking too favorable, really. Their attack has been very good on a few occasions, but the moment Elevate kind of stricken their defense, they started making way less mistakes like they've done on a couple previous rounds. It was just nothing to really play off, and for Nocturnal on their attack was very much hinging on finding those initial frags, finding that initial momentum. The moment that was ridden from them, they were pretty much left toothless.
Yeah, I mean, that's the difference between a good team and a great team at the end of the day. How well can you adapt on the fly and make those changes necessary to secure a win after the first attempt doesn't go your way? And Elevate proved that, after that first attempt, it didn't go their way. Second time round, went their way. Third time, same thing again. They were just able to read their opponents to a T. Crips T as well, a key part in how those rounds played out. 9 kills in the half so far, and only 3 deaths on the whole. Not a bad showing for her. And as we head into the defense, I mean, we could see the potential for 2 4-2 defensive splits here. That really comes down to just how well we see Nocturnal bring it out on their defensive part.
5 seconds to insertion.
100%. Well, for now, looking at the setups, nothing really comes to mind. The first opening is the fact that, yet again, the con wall is open, and contrary to, well, not contrary, or rather in comparison to Nocturnal's attack, I feel Elevate will be able to take full advantage of that. Some presence by TT is already just outside of that whole window, which could have possibly would have seen AJ Tiger on rotation, but that is not the case here since she's already downstairs. For now, it's looking like it's a calm before the storm, really. It's the prep for Elevate's push, already getting rid of the Mute Jammer from a very long distance as well. Gotta say, straight away from that double door. Worked out perfectly.
From
and already,
downtown.
From
just-
downtown, exactly.
Like, it's interesting. The longer you watch Siege, the more you see these things that players have figured out. Like, if you sit in this position on this map, you can get an angle from X to Y and all the way through to Z. And it's one of those situations. If you go in the main door, you can find an angle onto the floor just below where CCTV wall is and deny it with a Zofia. And it's one of the reasons I love watching this game.
Yeah, the more you watch, the more you play, the more it just unravels itself. It's just an ever-evolving picture, I suppose. And from the first glance, yeah, it's a game, but the more you look at it, the more you inspect it, the more intricacies you may be able to find. So far, speaking of intricacies, Chloe has found herself in one, seeing as she now needs to figure out how to flank, or rather push, Sav out of the position. Well, rightfully so. The Zofia of Cortari is happy to oblige, and well, that's the ballistic shield out of the equation.
It's like one of those where there was a moment's hesitation there where Sav was clearly like, oh, my shield's gone. And then pulls off the angle back into cash. But, I mean, Elevate, they're doing this systematically. They're dealing with the utility from below with that explosive prowess they do have in the form of the impact launcher. Zofia just coming in cleanly. Cortari picking up that role. AJ in Jim. Krez had the angle on the Crips but couldn't quite find it. They are trying to threaten the player up in rafters. It's going to be a bit of a toss, but nothing found on the backside. They know that Aussie is here. No Nitro Zell, so it's all going to come down to gunplay. Does have the ADSs, unfortunately, with Bot walking up the rafters stairs. They're going to find one. Soy goes down in response to Mons. Bot tagged with that goo mine in the leg, and Mons not done for the moment. Is looking to do as much damage as possible. Cortari is out on suicide. The jump there from AJ just unfortunately mistimed, means that they cannot go for the contest. Chloe on the bomb site goes for the plant attempt. Mons just absolutely removing Bot. Sav finds Cortari. Toxic canister is there, but the defuse will be secured. Sav runs in with the shotgun. They're not even going to bother with the finish on the Crips. It's defuse time. And Nocturnal, there we go. Crescent was handed the kill that she was denied earlier in the round. And Nocturnal, they come into the second half and make a hell of a statement.
Yeah, that was a sensational hold. Gotta give big props as well to Mons for getting some of those really nice trades early on in the game and mid round as well. So honestly, this is great. This is working out absolutely fantastic for Nocturnal. They're able to claw their way a little bit closer to back to that draw, but they're still at a round deficit. And with Church and Arsenal now being the next site, I am actually quite curious how will they be able to play it out, seeing the introduction of Echo, the operator that actually has seen quite a severe lack of presence in the past season or so in the meta. So honestly, this is quite exciting.
Attackers need
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of talk about changes that could be made this year that would significantly improve, the chances of Echo being played, but nothing confirmed for now. But speaking of confirmed, Cthulhu, I do have some news. Unfortunately, Elevate's main roster, they have lost to Pittsburgh Knights. So the entire hopes and dreams of the Elevate organization for picking up a win now rest with the women's team. If they lose here, they remain winless on the night, and that would be hugely disappointing. So no pressure or anything. Luckily, they can't hear me, so they won't hear that. But the stakes just getting that much higher partway through. And Yokai drone positioning. AJ is a perfectionist, if nothing else, and is trying to get it in the right spot.
Curious where the other drone is as well, because I'm definitely curious now that we've seen this position. Curious where it could be the other one remaining. For now, though, looks like Elevate are not really planning to waste any time. No presence whatsoever around the top or the ground floor, so the floor is there for them to take, and Sawyer and Cripsty will happily oblige to that.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is unconventional stuff that we are seeing. Upside down repel from Bot. Try and open the kitchen hatch. Looks like it's not even going to be contested in the slightest. AJ is just well and truly tucked into church right now. Like, she knows her role. It is going to be purely to make sure those yokai drones are as disruptive as possible. Crescent didn't even bother bringing the impacts. Going to be looking for that nitro damage instead. So I think Elevate, are going to have their mettle really tested here in this matchup. If they can get themselves into the bomb site and actually contest a plant is going to be the biggest question of all, just because of how well Nocturnal have proved themselves now on the defense. And yeah, AJ, just with a bit of a high, they are aware of what's going on, just playing the cam roll to a T here. And we are heading into the second half of the round. Cthulhu, I'm sensing a bit of hesitation from Elevate, I think.
Yeah, it seems like they might actually be running into a similar issue where they have not really found any kind of frags, and this is becoming an issue now for them. They can't really start up their momentum without, well, having one. And really, it seems like the main execution may actually happen around the kitchen hatch and maybe an opening in the dirt tunnels. Oh, this is going to be filthy. There it is.
Oh, no.
There it is.
Look, you can't shift double if you don't have shins, and that is exactly what happened, though. It looks like we're going to see a hot drop into the bomb site. Chloe on the plant, but it's going to be spotted wrong side of the smoke. Aussie Princess gets the down. Toxic canister to finish it off. Defuse was not secured, and all of a sudden, it's looking a little bit more bleak. The bot is just stuck over by the ash wall. Can't quite get in to pick the diffuser up. Soy in kitchen is... There we go. Unfortunately, bot gets down by Mons, and it's looking good, like we might even up that scoreline. Soy above, and unfortunately, there we go. Aussie Princess finds another. Sav on her roam finds success, and we are back at 4-4. This is the hardest that Elevate has been made to work all season.
Oh, 100%. And I don't think they have been expecting this kind of contention that hard against them, really. Because, look, honestly, a few of those plays definitely are looking a little bit shaky. I am definitely now quite curious as to what is happening with Elevate, because maybe they were initially planning to kind of enjoy and meme it out. Maybe there's some sort of morale. Maybe it's the nerves, who knows? Because right now for them it is quite a tall order. The more kind of wins they took, the more kind of the pressure of not losing is there. You know how they say the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And well, Elevate are right now considered the giants of the women's league.
Well, I mean, not only are they back-to-back champions of the XP Women's League, they are looking to defend their title for a third season in a row against the team that was formerly filling their spot. I could not imagine any greater pressure being on the shoulders of a team of players right now. And unfortunately, it seems like Nocturnal might be getting into their heads of their opponents here a little bit, understanding, reading those plays, finding those big frags. Mons, I mean, she's not a player that's talked about a huge amount in the XP Women's League, but you look at her at the moment, 8-0-4, has just been the bane of Elevate's existence so far. And I would not imagine she's going to slow down anytime soon. It's a discussion I've had time and time again. You know, the UMP-45 is not considered to be a phenomenal gun in the game of Rainbow Six Siege. And the argument that I've had made to me is, you know what, it may not be a great gun, but if you put it on one of your best fraggers, it's still going to do damage. And that could be the case. Mons has been fragging out of her mind.
Oh, 100%. And I'm, in regards to the dilemma about the UMP being the worst gun, a certain Canadian player would like to know your location in that regard. But look,
I'm not saying I said that. I've just said that a lot of coaches and players do consider it to be one of the worst. So I'm safe. I'm good.
You're safe, yeah. Okay.
No hate.
No hate whatsoever. Well, no hate indeed. And looking right now, oh, Cortari. Very early peak, and I believe that was actually just around the dirt tunnel, so that is a very quick, swift punishment. In regards to that, bot has actually been already traded out by, I'm assuming, is Aussie Princess, so this is already a solid trade. Jaeger for one of your heart breaches, I'll take that.
Yeah, look, it's one big portion of damage done to the overall utility of the team. They're looking to try and do what they can, but the utility denial is there. They have secured Jacuzzi Wall. They're going to try and flush out anyone who is playing in bathroom, purely because they can't see. Aussie Princess doesn't care, though. Double for her is going to be traded out by Crips. But at this stage, it's still a woman advantage that is even for the moment, and time is still in favor of Nocturnal. Cortari going to try and use those concussions and help Soy get in, but you look at Mon, still completely untouched, completely unaware of her positioning. She could be the linchpin. She could come in from behind and catch them on the flank, and Cortari to go down. Sev finds the frag. We could see Nocturnal push themselves closer. Mons, she's coming out of nowhere, found the frag from Khan. And this is exactly what I was talking about. Undetected, undeterred, will make it that much harder. Crip's going to walk in, the FO12 of Crescent in hand. Nocturnal regain the round lead. Cthulhu, they are 2 rounds away from one of the biggest upsets of the season.
Biggest upset in the whole so far league, I'll even have to say, really. So far, it's been a while since Elevate were that close to taking an L throughout all of the women's league, really. And with that said, this kind of play from Nocturnal, I am loving this. The fact that Mons is just playing however she wants it. She forces some of those gunfights in her favor no matter what, and the rest of the team is following suit, is a phenomenal showcase already from Nocturnal. From Elevate, this is looking like maybe you are correct that the opposition is definitely getting into their heads, and this is looking a little bit scary for Elevate here.
I mean, just the storylines alone involved in this matchup. You know, is it a case of, you know, Nocturnal are here to prove that Elevate made the wrong decision moving on from the roster that they currently have? Is this a case of, you know, they've been living in Elevate's shadow for long enough, they've had their time in the dark, they want to be the one standing in the light, taking that pole position, going into the playoff stage, and both of them seem like they are true. This is Nocturnal who, you know, they were the standout team. They were the Elevate roster. Now they, you know, they've been pushed aside. They've brought in a new roster. And, I mean, taking away a win against a team that has been, you know, the top, the most rounds they have conceded in an entire match is 1 throughout the entire regular season. This is just... I've been excited throughout the entire run of group stage. If this is the story we are setting up going into the playoffs, my lord, I might actually have a heart attack.
Well, we better probably prep up some of the heart medicine as well, because I do smell a juicy upset. For now, though, it's still not done. It's still not concluded. The match is still there, and it could go both ways, really. Interestingly enough, 2-player hold in the garage. Now, from the very similar position where usually those openings do happen, Bot might actually have the angle onto Crescent if she does not back off too quickly, but it seems like that is not actually the case. That is not the play, and quick rotation is a very risky one as well. Will be allowing Crescent to actually return back to the red stairs. So back to the very standardized hold, and for Aussie Prince as well, so far it's looking pretty solid. This, though, is a bit of an issue.
Is that going to be that's unfortunate.
That looks like an issue.
I think this is a bit of tilt coming, and I think Elevate would never consider... Bots then got it. I think this is Elevate's mental starting to crumble. They never imagined they would be pushed to this position, and Nocturnal have taken them there, and they are not quite sure how to approach this. And the cracks are starting to show. They're not quite the same, you know, untouchable team that they were in the earlier weeks of play. And with AJ on this flank, this could be a lot of damage. Nocturnal could be in prime position to move into match point.
Yeah, this is looking very promising here. Yet another grenade being thrown around. There's so many angles to contest, but finally it's the grenade from Cripsty to find that dub. So the first frag does go into the hands of Elevate, but not potentially for long. Another angle, and oh, this is a misplay and a half. AJ loses out that gunfight, but Sav is there to find a
How did she thread the needle with that toxic canister? My lord.
And it damaged Cortari as well, so this is definitely a little bit of a slowdown. 30 seconds remaining, 3v4. This is still very much workable. We've seen Nocturnal pull that off.
Krez still top red. Mons in cash at the moment. There's a player sneaking through. Plant going down. It's Mons to find Soy. Can she do any more damage? Clove is on the plant, and she will secure it for the moment. Sev wasn't able to deter. Had the toxic canister in hand. Mons finds Bot. And let's Crescent to find Cortari. And all of a sudden, it's a 3v1. Chloe goes down. Nocturnal off the back of Mons and a massive triple are going to find match point against the current champions.
Defender mission successful.
Oh my God, Panda. We're one round potentially away from the biggest upset right now. And for Elevate, this is bad news. This is a potential crack in the morale, in formation, in everything here. Given the fact that already the main roster in APAC South has taken an L, here, for Elevate, this is going to be a first.
Cthulhu, I have some even worse news.
Oh boy.
If Nocturnal take this round, both Elevate rosters will have gone down 7-4 on the evening. And with the setup that we're seeing coming up, this is 4 rounds in a row for Nocturnal currently. They have not dropped a round in their defensive half on Clubhouse. This is not a great sign if you're an Elevate fan. This is a great sign for storylines and setup for playoff stage. But if you're an Elevate fan, you are praying to whatever deity you believe in, whatever siege gods are out there, you are down on your knees begging and pleading that this goes to overtime and Elevate can pull it out. Because if not, not only have both Elevate rosters taken a defeat on the night, they've both done it 7-4, and it will also mean that Elevate are no longer in first place.
Yeah, this is going to be quite a historical moment, especially in Women's League as well. This is possibly the first time that would happen. For Nocturnal, this is going to be a huge achievement as well. Finally, the grudge match that has been happening over the span of, I believe, 2, if not 3 seasons, it's definitely looking like it finally might come to fruition. First attempt at the breach, Crescent is completely oblivious and will not be even bothering with doing anything about that opening. We'll be allowing that to happen, I'm assuming, for the sheer fact that the impact grenades will be saved for later use, but later use may not actually come around as Cripsty actually finds the very first frag, and that is on Aussie Princess.
And she was big the last time we saw this basement defense. Took the shins out from under the now Iana player, so this dirt tunnel hold is not going to be quite as strong. Found a couple other big frags there as well through the later part of the round. They still have the Okais, they still have the Evil Eyes as well. Only so much can be achieved getting that vertical control over Armory, especially if they have those stall tactics in place. 3 players on site. Sav, yet to be seen down here in the basement, is on that roam, looking to do what she can from top red once again, which has been her positioning for a number of rounds so far. Is just playing this angle, is just biding her time, using what information and utility she can. But we saw that pinch come in late round 4 Nocturnal. It could be the defining factor. Mon's going to be tagged up heavy, in a bit of trouble here. Deep in blue behind the generator. Can she just keep things going for as long as possible? Frag grenade does get thrown deep. More chip damage. It's going to be Soy from above to find the frag. It's a good start here for Elevate. They're going to find yet another AJ to go down. Bot finds that one. Crips just going to walk straight into the bomb site. And it's now on the 2 camera operators. Oh, no, Krez. The wallbang could have been huge. Sav in from behind, drops into the blue hatch. In from behind, can't find the frag. It's going to be a trade instead. Never mind, I was wrong. But Elevate, they deny that flawless second half run. They stop the 4-round streak. And as we go into the final round of regulation time, Cthulhu, I mean, you could not imagine a more do-or-die situation.
Yeah, this is a absolutely dire moment here for Elevate. This is the round that they want to win. Now, it is the one that will decide whether they will be able to go into OT or whether will Nocturnal finally claim their dub here. Gym Bedroom is going to be potentially the final place for the battle, and last time it was played out. Well, Nocturnal were able to win it out very, very confidently. Whereas for Elevate, well, they will need to make sure to sweat their buttocks off, because otherwise, well, Nocturnal are there ready and keen to pounce on any of the mistakes that Elevate roster is looking to make. And looking at the lineup, well, we're seeing Sav actually stick to the Mozzie, so way less of the, I suppose, aggressive plays with somebody like Ella with the FO12 or even the Legion. Instead, we are seeing the introduction of Frost, as well as that, well, the Mozzie is here as well.
Look, interestingly enough, so far, Elevate are winless on this bomb site on both attack and defense. So I think Nocturnal, they're going for the big heads-up play. This is the strategy they need to give themselves their best shot at denying overtime here. The Frost, look, I'm interested to see how this one plays out for Crescent. She's been involved in doing so. That is a bold setup. That is anticipating a lot here. I mean, look, if you were Elevate and you got the breach open, you were ready to push it, somehow that mattered survive. Okay, yeah, I was going to say, like, that's a risky play given that there's no guarantee that the mat will survive, but there is no way you're anticipating the mat there.
That is a good one, yes. I am happy to support that peak because that is 100% will be able to catch the attackers off guard unless it's thoroughly and fully drummed, which I don't think will be allowed for Elevate. Grenades do start coming around, so that's the bandit charges, and oh no! The shrapnel actually got the frost mat, so this is an issue, but Aussie Princess doing phenomenal job. That's actually one of the Selma charges now out of the equation, and Aussie Princess is now going to be attempting to keep her position, goes in for the swing, possibly, but falls back to the main stairs.
Oh, for a second there, I thought we were going to see like a jump out attempt. I've seen bold stuff in this game today, but that is truly another level. Unfortunately, yeah, that frost mat not going to be there, so they're going to rely on the positioning of some of these other ones already. I mean, there was early damage done. AJ found that shot onto bot from the CCTV where there wasn't enough to get the kill, but it's early chip damage that could secure the frag later on in the round. Oh, he's drone. Just finding some key information here. Pre-fire's going out on the main stairs. They're looking to try and secure that information that will allow them to go for a Logi Hatch drop. And Soy somehow finds the angle onto Sav, just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But they have an idea that AJ is in this position, trying to go for the spray through the wall. She will have to relocate for the moment, but again, it's these off-site players that have done the most damage so far for Nocturnal.
Bot knows that there's some presence around the cash room, but is not completely aware of Monza's presence. Already 13th kill to be added to the counter for Monza's kill count, and right now, it's back to 4 versus 4. The health advantage, though, it's just barely in favor of Elevate, but a grenade could be the end of Crescent here, but
oh my lord!
Actually connects a headshot.
Like, you talk about the clapback, that's exactly what happened. Nade comes in, Krez swings the window, and just good night, Soy. And all of a sudden, things are looking worse and worse. One drone available to the team. Aussie below with the nitro cell prepped and ready. Cortari drops it. We'll find a kill on AJ, who was on main stairs. We're back into 3v3. It's going to be 2 more quick frags, or 1.5. Chloe goes down. Aussie finds it with a nitro cell. Cortari, the one remaining hope here for Elevate, walks into the meat grinder, and Nocturnal will dethrone the current champions, take first place in the group stage, and leave Elevate winless on the night.
Oh my god. Full 12 rounds of a matchup. Absolutely stunning plays from both the teams, but at the end of the night, it is Nocturnal that comes out victorious. 7-5 scoreline. Crescent Mons pushing their team absolutely to the maximum, to the limit, with some of the most unconventional plays, some of the most unconventional picks, and just like that, Nocturnal, top of the leaderboard.
I mean, throughout the main run of the group stage, there have been questions, consistently. It was Elevate first, Nocturnal in second place. What was going to be the straw that broke the camel's back and decided once and for all who was going to take out that first place position going into the group stage? And we were hyping up this matchup coming into this week. We knew it was going to be the big one, and they did deliver on that. Nocturnal, congratulations on a massive win there. Taking out first place, not secured, not 100% done. We've still got a couple of weeks to go, but with 1 week left to play, Nocturnal have stolen away first place.
Yeah, and this is actually it's been a while since Elevator has been actually dethroned from that top position, so it's certainly an absolutely memorable moment. But that's not all yet for tonight as well. We do have the matchup of Renz versus Grumpy Grapes, who will also quite possibly be deciding some of the seedings and the positions at the bottom of the top 4, and maybe a few introductions from the bottom of the leaderboard as well. So we shall be back after a short break. Stay tuned.
Send your podcast to the great point. Send your podcast to the great point. Hey, put you in your place, look. Leave your thoughts on the floor like Facebook. Yo, got them from great boy. Send your podcast to the great point. Hey, put you in your place, look. Leave your thoughts on the floor like Facebook. Yo, got them from great boy. Send your podcast to the great point. Send your podcast to the great point. Send your podcast to the great point. Send your podcast to the great. Send your podcast to the great point. Hey, put you in your place, look. Leave your thoughts on the floor like Facebook. Yo, got that from Great Boy. Send your podcast to the Great Boy. Hey, put you in your place, look. Leave your thoughts on the floor like Facebook. Yo, got that from Great Boy. Send your podcast to the Great Boy. Great Boy, 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 Send your podcast to the great boy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Coming in off the back of one of the greatest matches of the season, Elevate versus the Nocturnal Girls, and Nocturnal did end up taking it out 7-5. And well, we do have some stats here, so we can further understand how that entire map played out. Clubhouse, one of the go-tos for the tournament, and you look at it just on the board. Mons and Crips both hitting 13 frags on the fly, and Mons with a phenomenal kill differential, 13-5. So that is just insane. 2.6 KD on the whole, and the
Yes.
same kill per round ratio as Crips T, 1.08. Just phenomenal stuff on the whole.
Absolutely stunning performance, honestly, from Nocturnal. Unfortunate for Elevate, yeah. For Elevate, they've tried their best. It seemed that the defense of Nocturnal just was absolutely an insurmountable fort, really. And for Nocturnal, well, yeah, they had a bit of a rough time on their attack. Once it came to the defense, though, oh, it was absolutely clinical, being able to play off a plethora, actually, of mistakes that Elevate made, plus some of their own few additions here and there, and some very, very sneaky plays with the shotgun, especially in the dirt tunnel. So, honestly, now, Nocturnal did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I mean, this is just what you want to be seeing going into the end of the season. The step up, the improvements week in, week out, coming to the culmination of the head-to-head matchup of the first and second place teams. Now, reversed, in fact, is Nocturnal will be the first place team. Elevate will be knocked down into second. And speaking of placements here, we do have another series another map that we have to play, and this one has some more significant ramifications, I think, on the whole. So, if Rens lose this match, now they need to lose it. If they lose this then allows potential for another team to work their way into fourth place. So, we do have a couple of updates there. It's Calypso. They did beat out Beanix 7-2, so their position is secured at least third, potentially fourth, depending on how this matchup goes. 71st Recon did beat out Nutty Gaming. So this now sets the stage. If Grumpy Grapes win this matchup, both 71st and Grumpy Grapes have potential to move into 4th place if Wrens do lose. So there is a lot riding on this. And look, Cthulhu, we've already had one absolutely heater of a match. This one, I'm sure, is going to be no different. And look, we both know the players in this league, specifically 71st Recon. They're a team that has the potential to go for that upset going into the final week. Specifically, I know one player in particular, ticked off. She's very, very poggers when it comes to the game. So I'm interested to see what they can do going into the final week. But that is next week's problem. Our week's problem now is Grumpy Grapes versus the Wrens. And, well, why don't we have a deep dive into what we could be expecting from them. Grumpy Grapes, they haven't had the strongest of seasons. They've had a couple of very, very close results. In fact, they beat Nutty Gaming out 8-6 in the opening week. They took Nocturnal to a 7-3, so they did take some big rounds off the board. And, I mean, there just is the potential for them to go quite far in the series. It's just how well prepped they are. There you go on your screen. Yoshi, Cheese, Aussie Ash, Cass, and Scoops. Scoops and Cass had some phenomenal standout performances in the ones that we've seen on stream. So, I mean, I said there's potential. It really does come down to who plays better on the day.
100%, yes. And Grumpy Grapes did manage to show us a few really solid rounds here and there, few really solid games, but unfortunately had a very rough start of the season, but now have the ultimate chance to really push themselves up in the top 4 position. But their opponents, Wrens, the current team that is defending their position at that top 4, are also a very solid lineup, really. The players that have seen quite a fair few competitive matches in their belts, and, well, it's Angry Wolf, Az, Brunek, Bernabear, Sporky as well. We shall be seeing those come up in a second. The roster that, honestly, is very promising. Put in a few more hours, a few more strats into the book. Shadow has been doing some phenomenal work behind the scenes. Definitely will be seeing Wrens potentially move up as well. So for them, they are the defending, I suppose, team today, seeing as they will need to keep their 4th place if they do want to have a little bit more certainty going into potential playoffs. Whereas for Grumpy Grapes, they are playing here for the upset.
Yeah, look, if Grumpy Grapes can take it, they can win next week. There is potential for them to move on, but I mean, I'm pretty sure, I'm like 99% sure if Wrens win this, we are secure in our top 4 positioning. We know exactly who's going to be moving into playoffs. There is no chance for anyone to move up. But, I mean, the Wrens, they've got some very, very capable players, especially given the map that we are going to be going to. It's going to be Theme Park. So, like I said, we are leaving Theme Park in for now because we're partway through the season. Next season, we'll bring in the other stuff that is coming into the rest of the leagues. But on theme, there's some stuff that is a little bit uncertain. Teams aren't quite as disciplined or practiced on this, but there's a lot to take away. So Wrens, you look at the roster, Az has consistently proved herself an incredibly capable Twitch player on the attack. So that is something that needs to be worried about, needs to be dealt with on the side of Grumpy Grapes. You've then got Angry Wolf, another phenomenal player on the roster who's proved her flexibility, her capabilities. The onus here is on Grumpy Grapes. Wrens, they have proved themselves already, I think, at this point. Grumpy Grapes of the team here. If anyone needs to step up, it's got to be them.
Yes, 100%, yeah. For Grumpy Grapes, this is going to be the big challenge, I suppose. Theme Park, the map that one of the Benix players would be quite excited to see, that is Hotto as well. Honestly, I'm quite keen to see how this will play out. Potentially one of the final tributes as well for Theme Park as well. And honestly, this is one way to really send that map off, potentially, if we won't see it in playoffs or the final week of the group stage. So good luck, have fun to both of the teams, as they both said ours. So let's have a quick peek at the Theme Park as well before we send it straight into the matchup. But honestly, Panda, I'm quite excited for this matchup.
It does sadden me somewhat that Theme Park is moving out of competitive. Some of the greatest matches in my, slightly longer than a year career of casting Rainbow Six Siege have been played on this map. So I'm glad we are going to get to see it still played out a little bit here in the Women's League. Grumpy Grapes, they're going to be starting off on the attack. So, I mean, Wrens, it is a map that is, I suppose, a little bit defender-leaning. That'd be the best way to put it. It's not defender-sided, it's defender-leaning. It's a little bit more favored to them. But, there's avenues that attackers can utilize. There's so many ways into the building, so they can get in, guaranteed. It's how they go for that execute, and these bans are going to be key in how that plays out. Wrens taking off that chip straight away. Maverick as well. not quite as mainstream on a map like Theme Park, but you can understand why it's being taken away.
Oh yeah, 100%. Maverick does most certainly make the breaching of the reinforced walls much easier job, and with him out of the equation, now it's all going to be down to how you clear out the utility, how you get the breaches, how you get the timing done. Interestingly enough, Mira out of the equation, the operator that can make a few sites very, very powerful to defend, but won't be present for this very matchup. And the final one is, oddly enough, actually going to be Smoke. The operator that actually quite a fair few teams do play around, and that is Renz's choice as well. So maybe they're onto something. Maybe they have been doing their homework here, and well, quite possibly that could be maybe the case here. Uh-oh.
Look, I'm
Uh-oh.
oh boy. Oh, we are seeing some interesting stuff. Hovid not locked in for the moment, but here we go. It's going to be Throne Armory to kick things off. No surprises. Cade being let through presents an interesting position for the attacking team. Renz, they realized that they had that final ban. We are going to see the Cade let through as the Smoker was banned away by them. Look, the Frost, we saw it used last time. Crescent went absolutely did elevate Dirty in that final round on Clubhouse. So I'm excited to see it come in. Yoshi sticking the Carly, replacing that Thatcher, quote unquote. Jackal being brought by Grumpy Aussie. The tools on the board here for Grumpy Grapes give me a good indication how they're approaching this bomb site. The onus is then now on Renz. How do they respond to this? How do they counter this? And, well, we've seen them counter some pretty solid teams and do it quite well.
100%, yeah. It is quite a different approach with the decision to switch over from a castle to a Frost, which does imply quite a few things, including the fact that we might be seeing a few extensions from the Armory and Throne Room side to maybe play around some of the windows, some of the choke points, to see if maybe Renz could lure in some of the attackers into those bear traps. That's one thing. For Grumpy Grapes, decision to rather instead of being a bit passive with Nomad and having that kind of passive flank watch, be aggressive and kind of take the meaning of best defense is a good offense to a new level with Jackal is definitely a very solid introduction, seeing as Renz are also a very capable team frag-wise.
Yeah. Yeah, look, hey, my eyes are seeing attack. As soon as we hit there, I want to see Az bring out that Twitch. She is, I mean, it's scary with that when she's capable, and there's a little bit of confusion. We'll carry on as it goes. I think it's just the new font that is throwing people off a little bit here. I myself, when the new patch hit, was a little confused, but we'll move on. We'll carry on. Looks like Grumpy Grapes are going to go for the standard, open up the hatches on the roof, go for the top-down clear, which, like I said, the greatest thing for an attacking team on a map like this is there are so many avenues into the building, which makes it that much harder for the defense to cover. But if you're going for those bunker setups, you're holding your positions, holding your angles, the attackers then have to come for you. That's where the power lies on a map like Theme Park. So, with this upstairs presence, you've got some deep roam coming in the form of the Malusi for Angry, and it looked like Burner Bear on the Jaeger. This could be rather untenuous for Grumpy Grapes. They need to be on top of their droning. They need to be on top of their control of their second floor. And, well, their rotating Burner could be the one to find the opener here. If, unfortunately, Cass isn't quite paying attention.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting turnout here already. Some early gunfights that could erupt in just a moment's notice. There is a angle, well, rather the range advantage that Cass had, but she has forfeited ever since that location and that angle. And interestingly enough, Grumpy Grapes has full-on just abandoned that push. Rather, we do see the decision to bring in the Jackal to see if maybe he can get a few scans here and there and see if maybe an assist in a push could happen, as holding her angle as well from the office vault.
This is a risky angle. I've played it myself a couple of times with the rank stack. It's one of those very hit or miss situations, especially now that Aussie has that angle locked down. Cass gonna be the first victim of conflict here as Angry Wolf does find that trade. Hard breacher down, which means Cheese has a much harder job keeping herself alive so that it actually can go for the execute onto the bomb site itself. They're trying to pinch it on this player. Oh no, Aussie had no idea. And all of a sudden there was a Malusi in her crosshairs gunning her down. That's unfortunate.
Indeed, already another one just walks in with just the kills are being gifted here to Angry Wolf, and with no kind of retaliation apart from the initial loss of HP. Really, nothing else has been really unfortunate. Oh, a crisp, clean shot though by Yoshi. Landed onto Sporky. Another attempt at going there, but no, does not connect. The last person remaining is Grumpy Cheese, and well, Brunek is going to deal with her very swiftly.
Look, if nothing else, that was a clean headshot. I'm a big fan of the Carly when it's played, and well, if it's one thing to take away that Grumpy Grapes was still able to find that frag, hell, Yoshi did it in style. Again, another player on this roster for Grumpy Grapes that does the work when needed in some of these clutch situations. Rens, though, will walk away with the victory on throne, which means we are now going to be heading upstairs. More than likely, we could go to lab at some point during this matchup, but I hope not. It is a messy bomb site. Initiation office going to be the bomb site for round number 2. Looks like we're getting a similar, not quite the same, operator for operator roster, but the core 3 still looking the same. Slight change. We've got a Valkyrie instead of the Mute. So there are some changes, but there's also some strong similarities.
Oh, yeah. 100%, yeah. The similarities is certainly going to stay in there. Scoops, actually, I would have been quite keen to see her play it out on a Capitao, seeing as it felt like maybe there was a slight lack of just general utility usage, because we didn't really see a whole lot of scans, for example, by Jackal, even though there were footsteps right in front of the operator. Similar goes for quite a few operators, really. We didn't see much of a turnout, really, there for any of the utility, and the gunfights really didn't have any backing in that regard. So quite possibly, maybe an introduction later on of a Capitao or somebody else to bring in a little bit more explosive power, or maybe a few more flashes or smokes, could certainly reinforce the push of Grumpy Grape, seeing as they have the potential.
5 seconds to insertion.
Yeah, look, this is nothing out of the ordinary that we're seeing being set up here. This bomb site is one that can go both ways if you lose control of, ironically, lose control of control. It can be very, very hard to hold on to. Same with, Bunk, if you lose control of that, and then they can push into the bomb site. You get the plant down behind, the initiation shrine itself, and it's one of those bomb sites that's notoriously hard to retake if you do lose out on it early. And, well, Grumpy Grapes, they're going for the cafe push, it would seem. Makes a lot of sense. This is the angle that a lot of teams will look to pressure the bomb site from, just because the hatch drop at the control is less than secure. Same with the yellow corridor. That hatch there in particular holds some very significant nightmares for myself. I have made some terrible plays through that hatch. Luckily, we're not going to have to watch the Grumpy Grapes do that. They've got a little bit of head on their shoulders when it comes to this game. They have control, though. This is, again, great positioning early on. They're getting that significant control of their second floor. They want to get themselves in the northwest corner and start to expand that control, because with the hard breaches on the board, it's entirely possible, especially given that they've got 1K. That's it. That's the only breach null they have, which means they have to be very, very thorough in how they utilize it.
Most definitely. Interestingly enough, the general position of Maestro has been already drawn out, so right now Grumpy Grapes are actually being quite careful and quite thorough, but, well, in saying that, already lost Scoops Gaming. A C4 flies in, will not be claiming any life, but already quite some damage been dealt. Cass struggling with her engagements right now, and for Bernabe, well, this is looking like a stroll in the park, really. Playing Ring Around a Rosie and getting tracked. Oh, absolutely oblivious as well. This could be an absolutely dangerous outcome right now. Finding one. What?
Oh, no!
How is that allowed?
2 rounds, 2 triples. Ironically, that's the same position I play on Theme Park as Maestro that Angry Wolf is playing, but with a different gun. But 2 rounds in a row, 2 big triple kills. The second one, I hate to put it this way, but a symphony of errors. That's really what it was. They just weren't covering their bases. They had the track down. They had that information. I don't know how Cass wasn't given the call that there was a player pushing in from behind her. She was still looking through bunk. That was what resulted in that knife kill happening. And Grumpy Grapes, the upset needed to happen here for them to be able to threaten into that 4th place position. But these little mistakes, or sometimes glaring mistakes that have happened so far, could mean that we have our top 4 secure already.
Yeah, the morale is definitely going to be a bit of a issue, possibly going further into the matchup. Cheese could be potentially holding a much more aggressive angle
seconds left.
should Burnabear push up a little bit further up, but that won't be the case.
10 seconds to
A
go.
very dire attempt to just push in flat out onto the side, peeking whilst reloading. This is not looking good, and a lineup and a flawless round. For Renz, well, this is looking like it's going to be just a walk in the park.
Yeah, look, I talked about how Grumpy Grapes needed to be the ones to step up here to secure themselves a shot at going for that 4th place position. But Renz, they know the position they themselves are in. They know if they lose this, their spot is no longer as secure as they want it to be. If they win this, they're done. They don't have to worry about next week. They can just have a little bit of fun and then prep themselves as much as possible going into playoffs. Because, like I said, the math has been done. We did it. We calculated it all. If Renz win this, there is absolutely no chance that anyone in the current top 4 gets knocked out. They needed to lose. Calypso also needed to lose, and Calypso won. They've won that, so they're secure. And Renz, they need to win this one. So I think that this is them. They've got they already had the chokehold in place. They're just tightening it, looking to make sure that their opponents are unconscious and can't fight back, because the 2 rounds that we've seen so far, both of them have been rather solid.
Yeah, there's no kind of showcase of any kind of cracks in performance. There's no, at least overly visible showcase of that Renz are not prepared. Not all of their execution seeming to be working out quite well, and the fact that they are able to emphasize their play off the mistakes that Grumpy Grapes are committing on a fair few occasions certainly shows that, maybe this might be somewhat of a similar showcase as to what Elevate sometimes show us. Not anymore. It is all the time. Only sometimes.
5 seconds
At
to
the moment, it's bunk take here. We're seeing the standard office lockout. Like they've locked out office, they've locked out waiting. They're trying to cut off that entire chunk of the building into initiation as well. It's a bunker hold that we see traditionally from a lot of teams on this map. Some to varying degrees of success, and at the moment, no way Angry is looking for that same bullet hole angle. No, okay, it's going to be given over to Brunek. It's Brunek's job to hold that down. But I think that was ambitious, especially for a Maestro, especially when you've got the 1.5 times scope on the Orgate 3. Might as well give it over to someone who's got a little bit more range to that.
An angle to watch all the way down that hallway is a very dangerous one, especially with the fact that you can't really initially counter it unless you fully drone it, but it seems like maybe that is not going to be the case. Scoops Gaming is one to start pushing in through the bathrooms, whilst the drone completely misses out on the position of the Jaeger. But now that Burnabear has made her presence known, well, she's able to dish out some damage to Grumpy Cat, and well, that's about it for the time being. At least now there's been an introduction of that uncertainty into the fact that, well, there might be a flank now coming around.
We've seen just how pivotal these flanks can be on a map like this. Interesting position to put your Claymore, but
Okay.
I can understand it. I respect it. The Nitro Cell is going to deal with it anyway, so Scoops is a little bit concerned as to what has just happened, why her Claymore is no longer there, and the explosion did happen, as will be spotted out. She's in a bit of trouble right now. She could find herself being flanked, but Scoops not going to over-aggress a situation where she doesn't need to, so respect there. You know, some players would have just run full headlong through the breacher and died.
Ooh.
Oh, there we go. El Pixel is all it takes here in Rainbow Six Siege. Scoops finds one, but the retrade goes out and Cass goes down. So a 1-for-1 and information gathered without a Nitro Cell for a hard breacher. That's a big victory for Renz already.
100% now. The pin set is already starting to happen. There's the peak already, but quite unfortunate. Sporky able to actually dish some damage back to her opposition, is actually holding on her own pretty well, and right now it's Brunek actually to assist with the hold. Another peak, but this time Aussie is there to really add some more heat to the battle, and well, in a 3v3 this is definitely looking much closer here. Brunek once again also being taken out here. She's looking pretty solid here, all down to Burnabear, and Burnabear will start fragging, finds one, but needs to be very careful about those peak holes, because right now, Aussie might be down, and well, down she goes, all down to, well, it's just Cheese, and well, she will be taken down by Burnabear. Very clean comeback by Renz, but definitely a much closer round.
Burnabear and Angry Wolf, neither of them have died yet. So, flawless rounds. We've had some big rounds so far from Renz. like I said, they know the position they're in. They're not willing to give that up without a fight. And, oh boy, they are swinging wildly at the moment and connecting very, very solidly. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Grumpy Grapes can stem the tide or whether or not they're just going to be swept aside here at the moment. Scoops, I dig it. I rate the pick here. This one is a good one. But the question is it going to be so expected? Yes, it is. Scoops hates me and my dreams. Is going to be going for something else here. Look, I want to see it. I rate it, but I can understand why they would be hesitant to go for a full send.
Yeah, I think at this point, Grumpy Grapes are still trying to figure out what is the go here, what do they need to do, and slowly but surely, those chances are slowly fading away, really. 3-0 already, and for them to even equalize the scoreline here in the first half, they need the 3-round streak here for themselves, and so far, things were looking a little bit like they were improving, but not just yet. Ace introduction back into the roster won't be really changing a whole lot of things. The decision to bring in the Jackal has been somewhat yielding some success, but not to the fullest, seeing as both Angry Wolf and Brunek are still, oh, not Brunek, Burnabear, are still alive and well on the Ren's roster. I would agree with you here, Blue Panda, in regards that introducing something more aggressive would definitely help Grumpy Grapes here to change things up and maybe throw Ren's off guard.
I mean, aggressive, unconventional, just something that is not quite the norm at the moment. I mean, with the changes that were made in the recent patch, believe it or not, Nook, however you would say it, Nook is not the worst operator. She is a little bit sneakier, a little bit more capable of going for those aggressive plays and sneaking in under the radar. We have yet to see it, and I don't think we are going to see it anytime soon, but it's one of those things, those minor changes, which could be the defining factor between your opponents realizing what's going on or it being too late for them to realize what's going on, and all of a sudden, there's a very, very scary Danish woman pressuring them with the FMG9.
Or better yet, the 612 as well. Suppressed.
Look, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm just be happy with a knock pick. Let's not go shotguns only.
Interesting attempt at long-arming the C4 by Burnabear, or rather Brunek. Didn't really result in anything. An attempt to maybe kite a trick, but no, that's not going to be the case even here. A bit running around like a headless chicken.
Brunek's like, I don't know where to sit. This is not a safe space.
Oh god, oh heck, oh god, oh heck. It's just, you could see that visible panic in her movement, and now that she's been droned out, a couple of grenades, and well, pretty much that's the issue dealt with, or maybe even a swing should do the job here. Oh no, this is an issue.
Oh no, Ed Verdebeer on the flank finds, no! Oh, the shot from Yoshi,
Ooh.
the sacrificial lamb of Grumpy Cheese, is unfortunate, but it does the job. Verdebeer no longer flawless in the map so far. I mean, who would have thought that all it was going to take was, you know, letting your teammate die to get the kill?
Baiting with a teammate? No, never heard of that one. An attempt to open up a few positions will not really be yet successful. Angry Wolf still ramping and just absolutely ripping through the opposition, already on her 5th kill. Will be there to, well, continue making some progress. Already the Silver Charges are also popping off in hopes for Scoops Gaming to find another angle, but already a rotation into the barrels has been made, so a bit of a double-edged sword those breaches are so far for Grumpy Grapes, and really that sword is not really working their way.
Yeah, having lost control of barrels, this is, I mean, it's looking ominously like we are going to go back to the meat grinder here. You walk in and all of a sudden you're just getting absolutely minced down. There's a bit of downtime here as Ez is going to fight a kill on the Yoshi. Anyway, the question now becomes, was that technically Sporky's kill because it was her frost mat that did the most of the work? or was that just 100% the Burner Bear show?
I'll probably lean towards Burnabear's show just for the sheer fact that it was her who did end up going for that swing. Because ultimately it did end up being her decision to go for that swing and ultimately led to her demise.
Yeah, look, it wasn't Sporky tonight. There's a reason I can tell you that. She didn't call dibs when the kill happened. And everyone knows the rule of dibs. Works with team kills, works with everything. If you call dibs, it's your kill. The stats have to be updated that way. Brunet, though, will find the final frag, and that is 4 rounds in a row here for the Rens. Oh, no.
Oof.
Oh, okay. We're
Oof.
going to delete that bit of the VOD. Don't you worry, Brunak. We got you back.
I'm sure the replays will also be there to kind of maybe hope to erase some of those memories, but we are actually running into a bit of an issue. No, well, okay, we're back. All good.
Yeah, those
Players
are the
loaded
moments
in.
where, you know, in your ranked and your casual, don't look at the kill feed. That is just typed in immediately after the round ends.
Yeah, look, few times, players may not have the brightest of the aims, and probably this was one of those days, but hey, it's just another round, another play, and just the hopes of just erasing, or rather numbing the pain from missed shots.
Look, yeah, we move on. We play another game. You just act like it never happened. That's the game plan. And well, speaking of game plan, round number 5, we're going to be heading back to the mission and office. This was the round that was the flawless one that they did pick up on the Rens defense. Scary prospect now for Grumpy Grapes to get themselves in and get themselves, hopefully not a repeat of what happened in the past. Because if they could do that, at least they've redeemed themselves a little bit. You can see these minor changes that are being made in round out. Aussie has switched from the Jackal to the Nomad. Now they can't quite deal with these off-site players who are flanking in, finding those key frags, and you can feel them floundering to try and counteract.
Yeah, right now it's definitely looking a bit grim for Grumpy Grapes, although they have shown us some few promising plays. Yoshi back, it seems, into her kind of comfort zone with the Kali. But apart from that, yeah, it's Ren's show all the way. Angry Wolf, still deathless, playing to her heart's content here.
I mean,
That's probably the best way to describe this all.
Yeah. This was the round, you know, previously that we saw. I'm pretty sure Agri was the first round. It was on Throne Armory that she got that big triple kill, and then Burner got that insane triple kill while being Jackal tracked as well. So I think maybe that's one of the reasons they've switched off the Jackal and picked up a Nomad instead. You know, it's a little bit more proactive in terms of the flank than someone is if they hit the air jab. It's much more obvious that has happened, and gives you that second advantage where you can look to try and capitalize on it. But I mean, look, Cthulhu, we've had 2 matches tonight. I haven't seen a hell of a lot of Gone 6 play.
I don't know. Yeah, we've seen like a few, I believe, from Crip's team while she was on Iana, but yeah, not to absolutely fullest extent, which is surprising. But at the same time, I mean, with the fact that it is kind of a single shot gun, I'm still assuming that we're gonna see quite a few times when teams will try to adapt on the go. Interestingly enough, Az's position has been actually compromised with the drone, and now being droned out whilst being peeked and swung upon by the Ash, and still surviving. Now that is some luck there.
Hey, look, it's all about the fancy footwork, and Az had it down. Is just oh no, this is a dangerous position. Yoshi, I mean, it's 2 like machine pistols effectively with the MPX as the SMG9. Nitro cell throwing, I love this gun. Oh my lord, it's so much fun. But Yoshi is not happy with her position in this world, looking to cover many bases and not at all stoked about it. Drone is going to spot out Az yet again. Just the information that has been there for the Grumpy Grapes and unfortunately just not being translated into kills or advantages is just, it's unfortunate. They're doing their absolute best. You can see it in their play, but it's just falling that short that they can't translate it into a win. It's rough, but I mean, Rens, they knew what they were going for starting this map off.
100%. Cheese, though, finds finally yet another kill, this time on Burner Bear, which is a solid beginner of a frag here, but right now this is a very dangerous play here. A swing to come around as is prepared. She's ready to get those frags. Another one by Cass is there, but it's Cass who wins out this pixel peek and actually baits it in perfectly. Angry Wolf continuing her rampage, but yet again just downs. It's all down to Yoshi and Cheese to try to do something, but right now this is, well, not much can be done as Cass is bleeding out on the opposite side of the map.
15 seconds remaining.
One player down on each team that are currently bleeding out, and they can look for one. Angry finds two! One with the down, Sporky. But Angry Wolf is still deathless, going into round number 6.
Wow. Wow.
Look,
Wow.
that Rens, like I said, they came into this, they knew exactly what they needed to do, and they are doing it to a T. Theme park, there we go. We're even going to get Lab. Let's go.
Let's go. Got the lab, yeah. Lab is actually one of those sites that I feel like it's underappreciated, but it's also very tricky to properly defend. So curious, how will this very lineup of the operators, even with the decision to bring in Echo rather than Caveira, will work out? Because theoretically they could just play it out like a bunker hold and not care less really for any vertical play or any roams and just kind of play it out on the side. Or theoretically they could just spread out on through the whole map and just go hard on the frags, and well, that would probably be the better solution, seeing as the decision by Grumpy Grapes to bring in the Buck on top of the Ash and Zephyr is in play.
Well, I mean, it's a bomb site that you can play it quite comfortably. It's not untenable like certain maps, certain bomb sites on other maps, like Stock and Bar on the likes of Clubhouse. So what I've seen the majority of teams do, you want to deny control of Cafe. If you can do that, you can give yourself some decent security. You spread out into bunk, you spread out into office if you can. But I mean, if it's one of those bomb sites, if you lose vertical control, you are almost guaranteed to lose the map, just because of how much coverage Cafe gets you. It gets you the lab itself, it gets you into storage even, and it gets you storage and then somewhat into lab. So look, I'm interested to see what Rens are prepping, and in fact, they're covering a lot of ground here. In fact, they're looking to almost do like a full bunk, daycare, and break room spread. This is a situation where I admire what they're trying to do, but it could be a situation where they're trying to spread themselves a little bit too thin.
Yeah, unless Grumpy Grapes read into the fact that there's only 2 players currently on site, this could be a very difficult hold for GG to take. And interestingly enough, they are actually planning to go through the cash room and try to take the second floor, which is exactly going to be playing right into the hands of Rens. And as well as that, well, the castle barricades are also going to be there to slow things down. If only they've pushed, say, the cafe, pushed directly onto the window, applied some pressure from there, that could have been actually a pretty solid solution as well. But for now, it is going to be the battle for the second floor.
And Cass is just doing Ash things, sprint and forward. That's really as much as they really do in most matchups, but there's a lot that needs to be dealt with here. Just swinging the doorway, Vertibear fired scoops, and unfortunately no damage was traded back in that process. They lose to Sophia. That's a lot of utility that can no longer be brought to the table here. And it's just the angles that are now needing to be covered, and that's one. Ooh, okay. Drone spots out Vertibear, so at least they've got the information. They're playing that game well. Cass might have been able to find something there, but just a second too late in time. Cthulhu, this round, it could be that 6-0 half that we've seen time and time again in the season, or it could be Grumpy Grapes mounting their comeback.
Quite possible here, as, oh my god, if she hits that C4 from below, this could be huge. Quick swing is there. Burnabear finds herself her second kill already on, just about to be on death's bed, and Burnabear will be assisted by as well with that C4. Triple kill for her already. It's already quite a deadly blow here to Grumpy Grapes, and right now this is not looking too pretty. Cass, she's stunned by those echo drones, can't really proceed any further, and the only thing that they were able to gain out of losing 3 operators is just a down on Sporky and some damage on Burnabear. So this is looking a little bit grim here for their half. Possibly they will be able to run away with a couple rounds on the defense, but even then, they're going to be at a continuous pressure of the fact that, well, they need to get 6 rounds in a row.
Well, there's 10 seconds left, and they're not even remotely close to getting onto the bomb site right now. Angle being covered. Angry Wolf knows that there's a player walking towards it. Cass goes for the shot over the shield, but no, Angry Wolf's not going to concede it. Rens, they do. They take the round, and flawlessly at that, but it was a clock win. Time the defining factor there. And Angry Wolf has not died this half.
It was 8-0. Flawless KD.
Yeah, look,
This is huge.
This is big numbers. This is big numbers. Unfortunately, we've had a game crash. So luckily, we've got the pause timer. Technology. Technology is absolutely amazing. But I mean, what a solid showing from Rens here tonight. They looking good to secure themselves that top 4 positioning. And well, the question now becomes though, Cthulhu. So off the back of this, there is potential that, if Rens win this, then it then becomes a battle of Calypso and Rens to figure out who then progresses into that 3rd place spot. It's about seeding at the end of the day. Even, I think, just working it out in my head, so Elevate, they're now in 2nd, they're 5-0-1. As soon as Calypso win this, if Calypso and Rens win both their matches, I still think they're just going to miss out on securing 2nd because of round differential, but I mean, they could be sitting even on wins with Elevate by the end of the season if Elevate somehow lose next week as well.
Yeah, I don't think Elevate will lose another game unless it's going to be against Nocturnal. At least yet, it's certainly looking quite highly unlikely, but it is a chance now. That is definitely worth mentioning. For Rens, look, yeah, they are absolutely clinical here. They are able to just full-on lock down the sites. They play into just the right pace and forcing their opposition to play their game rather than allowing the attack to try to set their own pace. And for Grumpy Grapes, they need a change of pace, drastical change of pace, because the way how they're playing it right now, it is just way too good for Rens as an opportunity to not take. So say we see a full-on rush even, something like that, or even just flat out live droning, 2 drones, Ash, Zoff pushing right up ahead. It is already the change that they will gladly take, I would imagine.
Look, I don't think we're going to see anything crazy from Rens. I think they're just going to play their game. They're going to shut it down. They're going to secure themselves to 7-0. If they can, obviously. There's potential, like you said, that they could drop a couple of rounds coming into their attack, but we've seen their attack. We know just how capable they are. Like I said, Az on the Twitch is just an absolute beast. The F2 does spit. But okay, we're gonna have the Diana / Tilting shout out coming in here as Blitz is being hovered. Zero's off Spooky. There we go. 6 pick. It's the
Psych.
Twitch. No, okay. This is what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting anything crazy. But, I mean, this now becomes a battle of just how well can utility be used. A Twitch can completely undo any sort of, breach denial that you have on your team if you're not covering, especially that drone hole at the back of throat. If you're not covering that, it's just free real estate for a Twitch drone to get and deal with whatever any breach denial they do have and enable themselves to go for that execute onto the site. So, I mean, this is a situation where if Grumpy Grapes want to have a hope of even getting around on the board, they need to cover their bases and they need to do it very solid.
100% will agree with you on that one. Definitely curious to see if Az will be able to get her drone in the right position. It seems that she's actually just flat out saving it till the later push, which is a pretty solid idea. Apart from that, we do have Cheese playing, setting up a few cameras up on the 2nd floor around the dragon, but yeah, look, Grumpy Grapes are one way or another going to be set at a very scary position where they need to really win all of their rounds or even try to maybe play for an upset and see if they can keep Rens at that 4th position rather than Calypso, rather than contesting with Calypso on that 3rd spot. But
I'm seeing something concerning already, Cthulhu. There is no, from what I can see, there is no mute jammer on the drone hole behind the throne.
that is correct.
Yeah, that is just it. That's free real estate. Drone's going to go in. It's going to be shot out immediately, but that is information they now have that they can look. There's no way Yoshi can 100% cover this drone hole for the entirety of the round, because if they try and make that happen, they've got the Argus cams. You shoot out the wood panels above the walls. You shoot it above that. Hell, you can even angle it so that you can see where the electroclaw is while just hitting that wooden panel itself. Scoops on the roam. Upstairs in control as they are looking to get in through cash or wallbang there could have been deadly, but they just don't have that information. Again, I think the tools are very much there for Rens. It's whether or not they can capitalize on this setup that Grumpy Grapes have gone for.
Oh boy. Az already picks up a frag. That is Scoobs, that is the Jaeger, the roaming Jaeger, the one hope for some roam game now out of the equation from Grumpy Grapes. An attempt at maybe switch droning, few things here and there will find out that the mute jammer is on the left side of that doorway, and hopefully for her she will be able to keep the Twitch drone. The mute jammer is still there, funnily enough, and all of the angles are still being kept. Maybe Yoshi is going to be the next one to try to hold on that position. And funnily enough, you were speaking that there's a need for a mute jammer. It's just switching the positions. It's either Cass or Yoshi holding the spot on the drone hole.
Look at me. Look at me. I am the mute jammer. Is the player. Okay, there we go. Cass, she's done her job. Yeah, she's got the bases covered. And unfortunately, Captain Phillips isn't going to get into the bomb site for the moment. But as with that F2, I talked about just how capable she is, the operator. It's not just the drone work, it's the gunplay itself, as is just a weapon when it comes to playing the French operator. And with a man, or woman, sorry, off the board, scoops down. Yoshi as well tagged. Aussie goes down. Brunek has found the angle needed, and they're just chipping away at the resources. They've gotten the armory wall open. They can look to start pushing it. Burnabear is poised to go for the execute in through split, and that's exactly what's happening. It's just going to be a push straight into armory. They've got control of it. They can go for the plant. Angry's going to find the kill on Yoshi. Angry still deathless. Burnabear finds Cheese. Cass will deny Az, and Burnabear as well on the swing. Double kill for her. Angry Wolf's still alive. Sporky still alive. Brunek on the ground. Angry Wolf's going to swing and try and provide some coverage as Sporky goes to the plant. Castle barricade security. Angry Wolf ends the map deathless with 10 frags minimum.
Wow. Was it 10 frags? Yeah.
Yeah,
10 frags.
10-0.
Cleanest scoreline that we've seen in a while. And yeah, look, Rens rightfully deserved 7-0 scoreline. An absolute domination there from them. For Grumpy Grapes, unfortunately for them, their chances for making it into top 4, at least this week, are all over Red Rover. And quite an unfortunate turnout for them. Dropped again for Cheese. Look, at this point, it wouldn't really matter anymore. But congrats to Rens. That was an absolutely sensational play from them.
Yeah, I mean, look, they came out this week. They knew exactly what they had to do to secure that top 4 positioning. They've done it. They are looking good. And, well, now, Cthulhu, we have finished up our final match of the night. We had 2 phenomenal matches. One was neck and neck, went down to the final regulation round. The second one was a bit of a shutout. Rens just came in, played their game phenomenally. But that kind of secures some of the positionings going into the final week of group stage. It's just going to come down to seeding at the end of our final week. But the stage is set looking into playoffs, because that is our next big site that we have our eyes on. And I mean, the question now becomes, is Nocturnal's win now just a bit of a flash in the pan? Are Elevate going to come back, secure themselves a 3rd championship, or are they going to be dethroned for the first time in a good long while? These 2 newcomers, you got Rens and Calypso down 3rd and 4th. They've had some rough matches. They've been contested quite heavily. Are they going to bring that upset throughout, beat the top 2 teams out of nowhere and take the championship for themselves? So that's what we've got to look for. We do have another week of play, obviously, so we're not done just yet with some of these storylines going into the playoffs. But, I mean, there is a lot up in the air, and there is a lot of exciting stuff coming our way.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Even, I gotta say, even week 7 is looking really nice, really juicy, to just see what kind of shakeups we may see at the end of that week, and see what will be brought on board for the playoffs. Maybe we'll get a few more tasters here and there. Maybe Nocturnal will show us why they are now currently considered, one of the best during this season, currently going, I believe, with only a single loss to their name.
Well, Nocturnal, they haven't won once. In fact, they are lossless throughout the group stage at the moment.
Yes.
Elevate can't say the same. That's insane. That is wild. Elevate, who, I mean, we talked about it, back-to-back champions. They won seasons 3 and 2, and now they're coming in here. Shoot, are we season 3? I think we're season 4, aren't we? Yes, season 4. Yes. I'm right. I'm on the money. Okay, we're good. yeah, they have been the standard for so long here in the XP Esports Women's League. They have been just the titans of the competition. They have been so dominant in their season. Season 3, they didn't lose either in the regular season. 2, they only tied once, I believe, in that competition. So there there is a lot riding on this going into playoffs. Nocturnal have handed a hefty defeat to Elevate. They denied them a shot at overtime, and from there, I mean, this could be the start of the end for the reign of Elevate.
Yeah, quite certainly this could be the beginning of that saga. We'll have to keep following it throughout the next week and the playoffs as well to see if that is going to come true. For now, though, let's quickly refresh our memory on the results and see where we kind of ended up being here. Here's the results: 5-7. The big bad, I suppose, the upset between Elevate and Nocturnal did go into the hands of Nocturnal. Calypso scored themselves that dub as well, 71st as well, got themselves up and running, and now, unfortunately for Grumpy Grapes, they were the ones that needed to play for an upset, and well, unfortunately for them, they could not do it. A 7-0 into the hands of Renz.
Yeah, I mean, there was just some phenomenal Siege play tonight, and we got to see some stunning highlight plays off the back of it. And, well, I mean, look, it is what it is. We saw some... I'm just blown away at the consistent improvements, the consistent high level of Siege that we are getting to experience here in the XP Women's League. It's not like I doubted them, but they go above and beyond my expectations week in, week out. It's just, I love to see it. I'm so happy to be involved in it this season. And as we get closer to playoffs, though, the expectations are going to rise, and the sheer competitive nature of this competition is going to ramp up even further. And we do have the match breakdown ready for you guys, just to have a deeper look at what we just witnessed there from the Wrens. And yeah, middle of the screen, 10-1-0, Angry
Oof.
Wolf with a 10 KD, 1.4, less kills per round than Burner Bear, though. That's unfortunate, but still phenomenal stats all around.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100% survival rate as well is there in play for her. So look, definitely she and Burner Bear are the 2 MVPs for this matchup for me personally. Unfortunately for Grumpy Grapes, look, I still gotta give it to them. They had some really good ideas with execution, but unfortunately the gunfight did really betray them there. So for them, well, they still get one more chance at least to see if they can maybe play for a few upsets next week possibly, but even then, it's an unfortunate outcome for them.
Yeah, look, they did try their best. You could tell they were trying to push the envelope and go for some less conventional stuff to try and take those wins away. But it was, I mean, Ren's getting to start off on the defense on Theme Park and then only having to win the one round on the attack, which is where they do tend to shine, was just unfortunate on the whole. So, yeah, GG, well played to both teams. But for us here at XP Esports, that is us done. Massive thank you, though, to our sponsor, ZQ Racing. Actually, no. Before we sign up, we'll go to the standings. We'll see the stage that is set going into week number 7, and there you go. So very, very obvious. We do have our top 4 locked in. There is absolutely no way that Calypso, Ren's, Elevate, or Nocturnal can be knocked out just because there is only the 1 week left to play, despite the best efforts of 71st Recon. Like I said, if Ren's had lost, they would have had that opportunity. If Calypso had lost as well, there was that opportunity. But no, with the standings at the moment, we have our top 4 ready to go for the finals.
Now, interesting thing is actually for Calypso, them being in the 4th position is actually a much more favorable, and I'll have to say, to potentially, if this is the seeding how it will go into playoffs, they will have to play against Nocturnal. Whereas for Ren's, playing against Elevate is going to be a very rough run, I'll have to say that. So this is definitely a very interesting setup so far. I'm still very keen for week 7 and how it'll go. And honestly, look, for Elevate, now they need to start climbing back up, because whilst they lost the battle, they haven't yet lost the war.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is just looking back at previous stats. So the Nocturnal Calypso, about 2 longest matches of the season. It was 8-6. Nocturnal did pick it up in the end, but that presents an interesting possibility that we could maybe see that upset come into playoffs if that is how our seeding does end up resulting. So look, there's a lot that could go on, but otherwise, yeah, this is setting the stage. We got another week to go of regular season before the playoffs kick in, and I mean, we're sitting 90% right now. We're getting ready to kick it up to 110%. But Cthulhu, yeah, we'll sign off now. Thank you very much for joining us throughout the entire run of this, the phenomenal matches that we did have. Thank you to our sponsors, ZQ Racing, Computer Alliance, Intel, Republica Gamers, Cooler Master, Ubisoft, and XP Esports, who have just made this all possible with the production behind the scenes, even if some of the new spectator tools were a bit hard to manage for the production man. We heard him in our ear, complaining a little bit, but on the whole, great show, and I'm so excited going into the playoffs.
100%. Very keen, very excited for all of this, and well, from us, that is it. Thank you all for joining us. We'll catch you next Thursday. Stay tuned and take it easy.
Get elite real-world performance for your desktop PC with 10th Gen Intel Core processors. If you're looking to game, create, live stream, or stay productive, 10th Gen Intel Core processors deliver an optimal balance of frequency, cores, and threads to handle real-world usages. Get enthusiast-level performance with an Intel Core i9 processor, up to 5.3 GHz clock speed for peak gaming performance and content creation workloads. Or for competitive gameplay and content creation, choose an Intel Core i7 with up to 5.1 GHz clock speed to handle your demanding applications. The Intel Core i5 processor with up to 4.8 GHz gives you a seamless AAA gaming and entertainment experience. And with up to 4.6 GHz clock speed, the Intel Core i3 is a great fit for everyday tasks and productivity. If you're looking to push your system even further, get additional performance headroom with unlocked 10th Gen Intel Core processors, supported by Intel's advanced overclocking controls. Bring elite, real-world performance to your desktop PC with 10th Gen Intel Core processors.
podcast to the grave. Send your podcast to the grave.